Okay, so if you have been wondering if someone who cheats is capable of change, or does a cheater always cheat? And that's what we're talking about today, people. Thank you for joining me. I am Coach Kara, and we are talking about, can a cheater change its ways? Well, to answer that question, it all depends on the type of cheater that you are dealing with. And yes, there are several different types, and we're going to talk about all of those types today and if they are capable of changing their ways. All right, so let's just get started. So, our first type of cheater, and this one is a bit more, I would say, stern about its ways because we're talking about an egomaniac. Or you can call it a narcissist, but I prefer egomaniac. Someone who is steadfast in their beliefs, they're self absorbed. It is all about oneself, their own needs. And this is the type of person who is always in a full on committed relationship. And why is that? Because this individual needs that constant attention, someone clinging on to them, someone who cares about them far more than they care about their person. That situation. And because their ego is so vast and grand and they have this grandiose mentality, they seek, validation and attention from everywhere. Coworkers, the person at the coffee shop, like it's overwhelming. And because of that, it causes them to have a sense of entitlement. And when you have this sort of persona, I can do as thou wilt. And I can't believe I just quoted that phrase, but yes, it's that sort of mentality, which is actually quoted by someone who has that same sort of, persona. But I can have an extra person, and what are you going to do about it? Are you going to leave me? You probably won't, because I'm too good to you. Even though I don't care about you or respect you all that much, you're not going anywhere. And if you do, you can be replaced tomorrow. It's that sort of mentality. Is this the sort of cheater that is capable of changing its ways when they feel they are entitled to whomever and whatever, whenever? Not likely. Not likely at all. Because this is a type of personality, they are so set in their ways, they're not capable of change. And again, there's very little that anyone or even themselves can do about it. And that's that. So, our next type of cheater, we have someone who is, again, relationship, I wouldn't say worthy, but they always find themselves in a relationship and they are vindictive. We're talking about the vindictive and the petty types. The one who are sensitive without someone knowing it, or they get caught up in their feels quickly. If you do something to them, even if you apologize, regardless how minor or major the offense is, they take it to heart. And instead of doing something, retaliating in a manner to what most normal people do, like eating the last slice of pizza, something like that, something minor. No, they may go to the extreme and step out of their relationship. That is a problem because their person, upon discovery, now they're going to always say, oh, because I did this, you did that. So it's always walking on eggshells and reassuring and always being apologetic to the extent of, hey, so you don't go out and do this again. I'll try and my hardest to not do whatever to you, but you never know when you're going to commit the next offense that's going to lead to that. I know, right? So immature and just so petty. So it's that type of cheater that is capable of change, but it's going to put a lot of pressure on their person to always reassure them that, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I promise you, I didn't mean to do that. It'll always have to be something like that. So they don't feel the need to go to the 10th degree, to do the most, to retaliate, to feel, even if the person never finds out about it, which doesn't make much sense. If someone doesn't know, then they can never be hurt. So what's the point? But still, this is the type of person They're likely to change, but because most vindictive people are just set in their ways, it's usually not likely for them to change as a cheater. If that's the punishment that they choose for you, regardless how minor or major the offense is, then so shall it be. Yeah, I mean it's possible, but we're leaning more towards not likely. Okay, yeah. Next we have the nymphomaniac, the sex addict, hypersexual type of cheater. The one who cannot control, his or her urges, their thoughts, their actions. Sex has just completely consumed them. They're always asking or begging for it, or you may find them even not being physical, but just mental, their thoughts, their searches on the internet and magazines, and it's just a lot. And this is the type of person is not going to just go out and just have sex with anyone. They are capable of having an affair or outside relations with anyone or anything just to cure whatever it is, that urge to get it out. And that is one of the worst type, not the worst, but one of them. All right. And there's very little that they can do about that, because this is a disorder that cannot be cured, medically, clinically, or otherwise. As my mother would say, it is considered an unclean spirit. Yeah, I digress. But there's very little that can be done about that. And because they lack control over these urges, well, that makes it far less possible or likely for them to change, to be able to maintain fidelity. So if you are dealing with someone who is a sex addict, as far as fidelity goes, you can just completely forget about it. There isn't anything they can do about it, and neither can you. Very little. All right. So that's a hard no, a firm no. Our next type of cheater is, I would think, and I believe most people do as well, is an emotional, insecure type of cheater. Because this is a person who will be in a relationship toxic, traumatized, tons of baggage. Yeah. And because they have, and see, when we're talking about emotional insecurity, that's instability, right? And that has many or several attachments, I would say, like jealousy and trust issues, being codependent, and just so on and so forth. There's so many attached to that insecurity that they need an extra person to make them feel whole, to make them feel complete. They have a main person at home, but yet they also need an appetizer. They're trying to complete an entire meal. And why is that? To fill a void that will never be filled unless they do some serious work on themselves, some serious self-healing and growing and introspection. Otherwise, this person is always going to be seeking out someone to try to fill that hole, that void, that gap. That is the worst type of cheater. And this is also the type of person who becomes emotionally involved. Yes. Meaning they have a whole other relationship outside of their initial one, or relationships for that matter, because they're in search of. And so everyone who becomes a part of their life, they're just like void fillers, They're just there to make them feel complete, even if it is a temporary fill. Yeah. So that type of cheater, we're talking about the more severe emotional insecure person is less likely to practice fidelity at will. So the answer for that person is no. Now we have a more softer or low level emotional insecure person who may just feel, insecure because they could be with someone who they may feel is superior or maybe too good for them. and they may not be sufficient. So they may do something outside of the relationship to, make them feel better about themselves. Like, well, I know I may not be enough for you or all that you need, but this person, and they'll accept me, so I'll go do this. And that'll only happen until the person they're in a relationship with, like, really reassures them, like, hey, you're good enough. You suffice. I care about you. You're good. Really reassures them to the point that they feel confident and they don't have that urge or desire to need anyone else. So there's different types, different levels of emotional security. It just all depends on what level your person is at. So for a low level insecure, or a higher level, I should say, emotionally insecure person, they have a greater chance of practicing fidelity with reassurance, consistently, of course. Yeah. Okay, so our next one we have is the attention whore. Yes, this is the individual who may have received too much attention as a child. They, got everything they needed from parents or guardian, family, friends, and was always acknowledged. And they grew up expecting that from everyone. And see, once you get into that, or you become accustomed to that level of attention, you'll always seek it, regardless of where it's coming from. And it makes this type of individual far more susceptible to getting that attention from wherever or whomever. You're giving me attention? Okay, I'm going to take it. And of course, they probably need to do some introspection and find out what it is that they're trying to, accomplish with themselves. It may not be an issue, but more so than likely, there is some sort of trauma there that they're trying to overcome by needing so much attention. And if this person has the opportunity to get some attention from someone from the outside, well, then so be it. Okay? So with an attention whore, someone who's always seeking, always having options, they always have options. It's not just you, it's someone else. You can be replaced sort of mentality. Well, then, no, not very unlikely. The possibility for them to practice fidelity consistently, no. Maybe for a short while. I'll give it a month or so until that urge kicks in. All right. And this leads me to the very last but not least. We are talking about the opportunist. Someone who never wants to miss out on an opportunity. When opportunity presents itself, they are there for the taking, Yeah. Okay, well, I didn't mean to sleep with that person, but, they were checking for me. I was checking for them. The time was right. When we checked in and then we checked out, it was good. Hey, it was just that. I had the opportunity, so I took it. They have a FOMO disorder, fear of missing out. And that's very bad, especially if they are out at a party or a club or something and that opportunity presents itself, they are with it. And it's not that there's any forethought or an intent behind it. They may actually be in a very healthy relationship, very little drama, not really toxic. They just couldn't, refuse a good time. And yeah, so is this a person who is capable of practicing fidelity for the long term? Yes. Only if they meet someone who is a game changer. Yes. And we all know a game changer doesn't come around very often. It's going to take a one particular person to make them just, whoa, okay, I'm good. There's no coming back from this. it stops right here. Like, no more, I'm good. Yes, that type of person, a game changer. This is probably the only way that this opportunist will change. A game changer. Yeah. Okay, guys, I think that is all for the cheaters. Hopefully this has answered some questions for you and shedded some light. I'm trying to think if there are any other cheaters, but I think those are the main 6. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have a more unique situation and you need more consultation and advice, all of my information will be linked down below. I thank you all for joining me today. That is all for now. Until next time.